Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we did a mission for Ordo Malleus, and we're gonna do another one because they're here and they're purge missions. Okay, reflect, physical resist, HP. I'm stupid, so we're gonna keep making these more difficult for myself. We'll just keep going with that. Item, void shards. What do we got for difficulty? That's all manageable, honestly. Let's go.
Between the stars, the ancient unseen enemies of mankind wait and hunger. Be strong and give them no quarter.
So, as of today, the day I'm recording this, which is also the day yesterday, I recorded this in yesterday's video at the same time. But, as of today, there's only been 5 cards announced, but I guess I should preface this. Magic the Gathering is doing a Warhammer 40K crossover set. I don't believe they are tournament legal, but if you want to play with your friends or do like a commander fight with the homies, you can do that. But 5 cards have been announced, leaked, whatever you want to call it. Starting off with the legendary of Abaddon the Despoiler. Almost said destroyer. He can't destroy anything. But you have him, so he actually, because he's a legendary, will count as a commander. If you don't play commander, or back in my day we used to call it EDH. But, you know, regardless, you can use him. There is the Fabricate. So, blue spell. Don't really have much to say. It's got Tech Priest on it, that's pretty neat. We have the Vanguard Suppressors, which, you know, that's cool. It's a card and then it creates 2 tokens. So, you get to pull a squad effectively by placing 1 card. And then we have the last one, which is Blood for the Blood God. Cool art. I really like it. All in all, I think it's interesting. I do wonder where else we're going to start seeing these kind of cross-promotional, just, I guess, license deals. You know, I think a while ago, I had made the joke about having a Space Marine skin in Fortnite, but with this, it seems like it could actually become a possibility. I don't know how I'd feel about that, but it's interesting. This isn't the first time Hasbro has done, or I guess it is Hasbro because they own Wizards, but it's not the first time they've done a cross-promo thing like this. For Magic, they had a Godzilla set. They just are, I believe, wrapping up a D&D set. Or it's just coming out. I don't know, I don't really follow Magic all too much anymore. I just know that's a set that's available. They did a My Little Pony set. So, you know, anything's possible here. But in general, I think it's interesting. I do wonder how it's going to be. If it's going to be like the D&D set, I believe those are like full-on boosters, which kind of sucks, because if it was just, you know, full-on, here's like a handful of commander decks, I'd be down. I'd buy the decks. I prefer them to be commander decks, because then it's a lot easier to work with. Otherwise, you're gonna have to buy potentially a ton of boosters, and I never look forward to that. Either way, it's gonna be cool. I do want to see what else they do. There's honestly a ton of possibilities. If they really wanted to, you could do... Honestly, if I was working at Wizards and Hasbro, I would sign a long contract with Games Workshop. Be like, okay, make sure we make a bunch of stuff for... Honestly, all of them. Death Guard... You can do all the stuff for Chaos, you can do all the stuff for Space Marines, and if you really wanted to get real nitpicky, you could sit down and create effects for each set. So like, Iron Hands get something that only Iron Hands cards have. You know, the cheap, fast and dirty way would be like, oh, for Death Guard and Plague Marines and stuff, they get, you know, Death Touch. A little, like I said, fast and kind of the loose way. There's been poison effects before throughout the card series, and you could easily just revive one of those. Which is what I would do, honestly, if you're really hurting for ideas, you know, just revive an old effect that hasn't been used in a while. Bing, bang, boom, done. Provides an interesting effect, makes the cards unique. And honestly, it would just be fun. I do wonder, though, what you would have for each one. I can tell you right now, like, Angron and any, like, World Eaters, Word Bearers, those kind of boys, definitely gonna be a red deck. Magnus and Thousand Suns, all the sorcerers and stuff, they're definitely going to be blue. I expect them to actually be pure blue. Death Guard. Death Guard is a bit of a grab bag. I can definitely see them being a black deck. See, there's arguments for a multitude of things. They could be black and white, because of the whole Nurgle shtick of he's, you know, plagues and whatnot, so he's kind of to a degree life and death, which would work, but they also could just do a pure black deck. Tyranids would be a green. Actually, I can see them being a green-red. I don't know what Emperor's Children would be. Because, like, Noise Marines and all that stuff, I just cannot put one of the 5 elements or 5 manas to them. Or even a combo of the two. I don't know any that really stick out as a duo. I mean, the same can be said for a lot of, like, the Space Marine chapters. I wouldn't know which direction to go. Orcs are definitely green-red. More red than green, I think. They're just kind of... I could see it even just being straight half and half, because they are kind of just bashy boys. And that said, you could even go Tyranids being black, green, red. There's a lot of possibilities here, if we're being honest. Iron Hands, I think, might be maybe not colorless entirely, but very heavily colorless. For Commander, though, that would be a pain to use. They would have to have someone with at least a couple of colors of something. Man, this is actually a really good question, because there's a lot of factions. I know most of these aren't going to show up. If I was going to make a guess, it's going to be, for the most part, Chaos and Imperium. mostly Space Marines, Primaris to be specific, probably a lot of Ultramarines. You're going to have a little bit of, at least in card art, a little bit for the Adeptus Mechanicus, as we've already seen with Fabricate. But I can't imagine them going full bore. But you could. If you really, really wanted to, you could spend, considering how many boosters they put out in a year, you could spend maybe a year to 2 years with just a 40k arc. And that'd be cool as hell. I would honestly love that. I like seeing 40k in different things. And I think it'd be neat. I think it would bring a lot of people into playing Magic who might not have played it, or honestly, with the number of dudes I know who play Magic and 40k, there wouldn't be a ton of, like, new people, potentially, but it's going to be a good cross-promotion. Because let's be real, how many people do you know who also play 40k and play Magic and vice versa? It's like, how many dudes do you know who play Magic and play WoW? Every person I know who plays WoW plays Magic. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, nerds tend to follow certain things. I know where to find my kin. But I do think there's a lot of potential. What do you think? What decks do you think would be made, or like what factions would get what mana types? Because I'm struggling on some. As I say that, Necrons have to be colorless. They have to be or near colorless, just because I think of like artifact decks, and that's what would likely be probably predominantly colorless, slightly blue. You know, there's going to be some blue cards in there. Somebody like Trazen the Infinite is going to be kind of like how some Sphinx cards are effectively just like blue and maybe white, and then colorless. I think that's what we'd probably see. But yeah, what do you think? Because I know I'm skipping over a lot, and you could even break this stuff down into sub-factions if you really, really wanted to. I mean, I was already kind of doing that with Chaos. But I mean, you could do it with even Orcs. I do have to say, though, I was surprised. You know, never would I have imagined that kind of just like a licensed deal. It makes sense. It just completely threw me for a loop when I saw it. I was on Bella Lost Souls. They're like, yeah, there's 40k in Magic. And I stopped and looked at it and I thought, am I on the right site here? This sounds like some old made-up kind of stuff. You know, back early 2000s into the 90s, and even before then, where there, you know, the internet wasn't well populated and well tread at that point, and so anybody could say anything. You know, you'd be in the lunchroom or whatever, talking with your friends, and one of the guys would be like, yeah, I heard if you do this thing in this game, you can unlock a secret character, and it's, you know, Doom Guy, and everybody's like, no, you can't, dude. I've never seen it. That's bullshit. That doesn't happen. And then it turns out you fire up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and depending on the version you have, yeah, you can get him. But like, you didn't have all the internet just at your fingertips. Every bit of news everywhere just plopped right in front of you. Part of me misses those days, but also I'm kind of glad we've passed that. It's kind of a mixed bag, you know. the old days of everything not being on the internet made it so playing games was a lot more interesting, and you'd kind of discover something and share it in your friend group, as opposed to waiting 2 days after launch and then finding a Fextra Life site that's dedicated to it, even though 80% of the information's erroneous because they don't really care and use it to siphon viewers and just get people to watch their stupid Twitch streams because they got nothing better to do, and it's a way to artificially inflate their viewer numbers, even though they realistically should only be getting like 100 people, but people use their site and they just force you to watch. But yeah. Oh, damn. He, knocked me over. I did not expect that. He's the only enemy. Whatever, now that he's the only enemy, this will be easy. See, all that needed was a little bit of flame pillars just smacking him in the face. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.